This week's episode is sponsored by Organic Sunscreen Moisturizer, Sheer Perfection Moisturizer that can only be found on perfectiondayspa.com. Contact Delia today.
This is thy kingdom come. Let the spirit of the Holy One pass over. Let your peace cover the earth. Lord, let your will be done. This is the time to take a stand, to let the world know that you can. You can face tomorrow, but today is the day that you say, I will reign.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I am Vanessa Klinger, your intuitive life strategist and life coach motivator. And welcome to Spiritually Speaking with Vanessa. This is our season premiere on the KP Media TV network, and I'm really excited about you guys joining us tonight. This is not your typical Bible study, so if you're here for that type of thing, I ask you to stick around because you may just enjoy it. This is not your typical Bible study. This Bible study is more of a combination of scientific with spirituality. We're going to take the scriptures and we're going to give you a different perspective on how you can see the scriptures. We'll be joining with my co-host, Michelle Massey-Washington, who I would consider a spiritual subject matter expert. So she'll be joining us shortly. And we also have a special guest tonight, Anissa Zabriskie. So I'm very excited about that. I like to call her a health and wellness expert. So she'll be joining us along with her husband. So we have a great show for you guys tonight. So sit back and enjoy. Grab yourself something refreshing to drink. And we're going to get started. So I am going to be bringing in Anissa Zabriskie, who is a health and wellness expert. She's a podcaster. She's an international best-selling author. She's a consultant for Isagenix. And she's also going to be hosting her own streaming TV show on one of our sister networks. So she's going to come here and hang out with us for just a few minutes and let us know exactly what's been going on with her. Just to give you guys a little backstory, she and I met on Facebook when I was streaming my ride-alongs and my Sunday Sailor editions. So that's how she and I connected over the years and have come to know each other. So she's been really supportive throughout this journey. So I'm honored to have that she was able to make time for us tonight. So without further ado, let's bring Anissa Zabriskie in. Hello, my love. Hello.
Hey.
Yeah. Welcome to Spiritually Speaking, my dear.
Hey, thank you. I'm so happy to be here. I don't know what to do. Happy kickoff to another amazing season. I'm so glad to be here. This is a thrilling, exciting time. Thank you so much for having me, Vanessa.
Thank you for accepting my love.
Yeah. And listen, I want to introduce to you one of your biggest fans.
Oh, really?
Listen, in all seriousness, Vanessa has been one of our biggest supporters for Healthy Mind, Body, and Soul. It is a Facebook group that I started to support my followers that had purchased and have been following with my book, Rerouting: A Guide to Changing Your Pathway in Life. And when I started the group, Vanessa was one of the first video bloggers to get on there and share her experience with the Ride Along with Vanessa. And it has been so inspiring and encouraging, all of the uplifting that she has been sharing. And I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to her biggest fan, my husband, Richard, who's right here with me.
Hi, Richard. How are
Hey,
you?
good.
How are you? How are you?
It's
Nice to
nice.
finally. I'm sorry.
It's great to see you. I started watching you a few years ago. I loved your broadcasts. So I try to get back and watch ones. And if I missed them, I went back and watched the replays.
That's
So
great.
I'm really happy to see how you've been progressing and where you've been going to. And it's great because I watched the tree grow from a seed. So I think that's fantastic. So
Thank
and
you
I have
so
to say,
much.
for somebody that's only 23, because it's your birthday, you're doing great. So happy birthday.
I wish. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Aw, that's very sweet. Thank you, Richard. Thank you. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
we
That
had
warms my heart.
to give a shout out to our support, our biggest supporter on the Healthy Mind, Body, and Soul. And today, Vanessa, I wanted to just share with you and your followers some important things that are happening around health and wellness, because we talk about, with the pandemic and everything going on, people are really looking to get and improve their immunity.
Right.
And even before we even get into all of that, just the toxicity that's in the world and in the air where we are it's just so toxic. And oftentimes we're finding situations where, even just you're out and about, there's toxicity in the air. There's very high pollution depending on where you're living. And then in the foods that we eat, all the processed food and all of the salt and the unnecessary oils and additives that are in our foods. And it's just creating a toxic situation for us and for how we take our food in. And so one of the things that has really been life-changing for me is when I look to change my diet. And I looked to improve what I was eating and take out a lot. And also the one of the key things around health improvement is stress. We are under so much stress with things going on in the world, politics. We won't even get into all of that here in the United States.
No.
Yeah.
Right. No, don't get me started on that, girl. I don't even watch the news. Okay.
I don't even watch the news either that much. I have to look at it just to stay up so I know what's happening. But I try not to, get caught up in what's going on in the politics or what's been going on in terms of world peace. But I'm telling you, if you're at the workplace, you're under stress. If you're at home raising a small family or even a large family, you're under stress. And especially now, especially if you're at home trying to raise children and be a school teacher and, things that you really didn't sign up for. So, in terms of how we manage stress and what we can do to improve our lifestyle, it is so important that we have our diet be healthy and our diet be strong. And as we go into the winter months, we find that our immune systems become more compromised. You're exposed to the cold weather, you're exposed to a lot of germs and so forth. And so we've been hearing more and more about how important it is to wash our hands. I mean, growing up, I don't know about you, Vanessa, but my mother constantly told me, wash your hands before you sit down at the table, wash your hands when you come in from outside. And now we're hearing more and more how important it is to wash your hands. And these are just basic things we can be doing. And also using hand sanitizer. I don't know about you, but it's great to have the hand sanitizer, but it is drying out my skin. All the alcohol and the gel and everything that you're using. So, washing your hands, though, we have to use the hand sanitizer. We have so many other things that are trying to keep the germs out. But there's only so much we can do physically outside. But on the inside, what are we doing to try to increase our immune system? And so about 4 years ago, I got introduced to a product that I was so excited about. And when I first started using these products, I have to say it wasn't my intention to become some health and wellness person or expert. It was more, I wanted to, number one, I want to have a second line of income and make some extra money. And at the same time, once I started using the products, I was like, oh my God, I see a change. I see a difference in terms of managing my weight. I was able to right away take off 5 to 10 pounds, within the first week of the products, which again, that wasn't my goal. My goal was just to try to have something else where you're making extra money. But then what it turned out is that I noticed that the components of these products, and I'm the first to tell you, we're not professing that anything cures anything. We're not saying that results are going to be typical with everybody. But I wanted to just come and share my testimony, my story about how the products have made a huge difference, and also in supporting my immune system, especially as we battle all the different elements that are out here in the world. And so let me just share with you a couple of the products that we have. And so one of these products, let me tell you, I have been using it for the past 6 to 7 months, and it has made a difference in terms of just not only my immune system, but also my skin and my appearance. And it is our our broth that we use, that we are making. These are products that are all natural in terms of their components. So Isagenix is proud to have a collagen bone broth that it's a powder. It's either vegetable or chicken flavor. And let me tell you, it's a dietary supplement that is great for keeping skin and hydration. Listen, Vanessa, I know it's your birthday. You are looking young. You look in amazing condition and shape. Listen, I have people tell me, I told people the other week I was 50. People had no idea I was 50.
I had no idea. I didn't. I thought you were like 40. I really did. Hand to God, I thought you were like 40. I really did.
No, 40 came about 10 years ago. I have been using, in addition to, the overall Isagenix routine, I've been using the collagen bone broth. It supports your hydration of your skin and boosts your immunity health. The other products that we have, and is head of Innovative Coaching Solutions, LLC. I'm so proud to partner with this company because they have some amazing products. One is this Immune with zinc. Zinc is a natural nutrient that helps to fight and helps to bolster your immune system. This also includes echinacea, other blueberries, which we all know has antioxidants. But this spray, I carry it with me in my purse, and I get 3 sprays in my mouth before I go in any large rooms or any large group settings. Every day I take this with me, and also I have Immune Shake Boost, which I add to my shakes every day as a supplement to help to again fight these free radicals and things that are out here in the world to kind of keep me healthy. And so, I mean, that I want to just share that with your viewers, whether you take these or not. It's just so important to make sure that your immune system is strong as you go into the end of the year. So that's all I want to share with everyone. And feel free, my website's at the bottom if you want more information, or you can send me an IM or email. I'll be happy to help you get these amazing products. And I have an amazing special deal for people, for all of your followers. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I just love being on the show. It's your birthday, and we're here to kick off the new season.
Yes, and hopefully, guys, it's a birthday wish, and I'm hoping that maybe you'll come back every month and turn us on to some of these wonderful products and let us update us on what you have going on and give us some more health and wellness insights because it's spiritually speaking. So the goal is to improve your spirit as well as your body. Just consider it, my dear, and you can come back anytime and tell Richard I said hello, goodbye, and thank you so much. And
All
we'll look
right.
forward to seeing you again, my love. Take
All
care.
right.
All right. All
Right.
right.
All
Yay.
right.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye. Wasn't she great, guys? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So we're going to take a 15-second break and then we're going to bring Michelle in, Massey, Washington, and we're going to get started with the show. So stay tuned. This week's episode is sponsored by Impressive Jewels by Elisa Carter. Elisa Carter has been my consultant since inception of the Right Along with Vanessa morning show. So go to ImpressiveJewels.net today. Get your little something. You deserve it. This week's episode is sponsored by Organic Sunscreen Moisturizer. Sheer Perfection Moisturizer that can only be found on perfectiondayspa.com. Contact Delia today. All right, guys. Thank you so much for coming in. Now we're going to be bringing in Michelle Massey Washington, who I consider my co-host and also your subject matter expert. Now, let me just give you guys a little backstory on Michelle. Okay, so I was going through Facebook one Sunday, and she happened to come through on my feed, and I'm listening to her, and she started talking about your chakras and everything, and I was like, she's groovy. I like her. She, and I knew that I wanted to get to know her and I wanted to meet her. And so I asked her to call me and just kind of connected. And I had the idea of having a Sunday night Bible study, especially with the COVID situation and everything shutting down and but I wanted it to also still remain in that thread, that theme of Right Along, which is to bring enlightenment, raw, real enlightenment and encouragement, and also to take you a little deeper into the Word of God. So I asked Michelle if she'd like to partner with me, and she said yes. And that's how we blossomed and gave birth to Spiritually Speaking. So without further ado, let's bring her in, Michelle Massey Washington. Hi, my love. How are you?
Namaste. I'm
Namaste.
great. How are you?
Good.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear. Yay!
Oh, we
Yay!
were having some technical difficulties.
Oh my
So
goodness.
I know tonight's show is going to be awesome because I didn't think I was going to be able to get on, and I just started praying, and it worked. So yeah, I'm excited.
There's always a way. There's always a way. There's always a way. Yeah. So now, guys, tonight's talk, we're going to be starting in Genesis. We're starting in the beginning. And we will be, for the rest of the year, we'll be covering the highlights of Genesis, all those great stories in the book of Genesis. And I asked Michelle, I said, Michelle, what are we going to talk about on the premiere? And she said, we can start in Genesis. She says, but I want to really take a deep dive into the tree of life because Spirit gave her some wonderful, wonderful nuggets of information that she's going to share with us. So I'm going to stop talking and just let Michelle do her thing. So let's get started. Okay.
Yeah. Basically tonight we're going to start in Genesis. And Genesis is the genes, it's the beginning, it's the starting. And so sometimes in order for us to understand who we are, where we're going, and how we're going to get there, we have to go back to the beginning. Because we're working from the telestai, which is the it is finished, to the beginning, not the beginning to the ending. So what I mean by that is that everything has already been prepared and done. We already know the ending. So the fight is fixed. Mm-hmm. But in order to walk from the telestai to the beginning, then we must we must go back to Genesis.
Okay.
So are you all, can you hear me? Everything okay?
Yeah, we're great. I'm
Okay.
I'm sitting on the edge of my seat. I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, so when you go to Genesis, the first chapter, beginning in the first verse, it says, in the beginning, God created the heaven and earth. And so the very first thing that you would visualize based on whatever your teaching is, if you're like me, but I've always been in the church. So I had to come from a transformation point. I'm not down in the church, but what I am saying at this point is that there's more than what we've been taught. And it says, study to show yourself approved. So you can't depend on anyone else. Even the teaching tonight, I'm only giving you tools. You can't depend on what I'm saying. You have to study to show yourself approved. So the revelation that I'll give you is that the heaven and earth, the heaven is the spirit, the earth is your flesh. So it wasn't the
Say that again, Michelle. Say that again, girl. Girl, you flowing and flowing. I'm telling you. Wait, let me just, guys, put on your scuba gear because we're about to go deep. Okay, put them on now because I'm telling you, she's getting ready to take you deep into God. So just sit back, put on your scuba gear, and let's go. Go, girl. Go. Yeah.
So in the beginning, he created the spirit and the flesh. It wasn't the geographical heaven or the geographical earth. So a lot of people look at it, it can be both sides, but in the revelation, we have to go deeper because God is a spirit. And so everything he does is spiritual first. So he created the heaven, which is the spirit, and then the earth. And it says, and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. Now he's using physical descriptions, so I know it has to be what he's talking about in the spirit and the flesh. It says the earth was without form, so transform earth to the flesh was without form. The flesh was without form and void. That means there was nothing going on. It was just a form. It was just a body. It had no life in it. It was void. It was the face of the deep. Deep meaning the depth of it. There was darkness until the Spirit of the Lord moved. So here, once he moved, it says he moved upon the face of the waters. So now when we're talking about waters, you're thinking about the sea, the rivers, the oceans, but he's talking about the water that's within your body. Okay, your heart and brain is 73% water. Your lungs are 83% water. Your skin is 64% water. Your kidneys are 79% water. Your bones are 31% water. So it says the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the face of the water. So during that time, he was creating your insides. He was creating your heart, your brain, your lungs, all of that in the creation. Stop me when you need to.
Girl, I'm just taking it in. I'm feasting right now. Go ahead. Go ahead, girl.
And God said. Now, when we talk about God saying, we think about our physical voice of saying. But in God, he works out of his imagination. So his imagination was saying. Now, what am I saying about imagination? When you go within your mind, you paint a picture. So God saw an imagination of what he was creating in man, and he was making it, and you'll find it later on, he was making it in his likeness and what he thought that he looked like and what he thought he was building. And as he began to do that, he said, and God said, let there be light. Now, when you're talking about light, we don't know anything yet about the sun or the moon. So he's talking about the light, which is the spirit. Woo, I'm getting excited about this. And he said, let there be light. This is the very point that God implanted his spirit in that darkness, in that form, in that void. Once he began to do that, once he began to speak to the face of the waters, and he began to speak to the light. See, your spirit is your light. And when your spirit, your flesh is your darkness, and your spiritual light. When the spirit comes in to that darkness, let there be light. That's why we're spiritually speaking, because we're bringing the light back to the darkness. Everybody's ready to give up. Everybody's ready to give in. Everybody's ready to just be depressed. I'm not being depressed because the light, there's really no darkness on the outside, because the light that is shining on the inside. And he said, and there was light, and God saw that the light was good, and he divided the light from the darkness. Now, when you begin to see that he's divided the light from the darkness, that means you have a body form and you have a spiritual form, and they're separated and they're different. So you cannot understand spiritual things with a carnal mind. He separated that dark part of you from that light part of you for right now. He'll bring it all together as we go through Genesis. Yep. And so as we move in this life, as we begin to know that we are light, when we go into a dark place, light comes. That's right. Just because God is not the man upstairs, he is not up in heaven just sitting on the throne. The kingdom of God is within us, and so that light is sitting in us. And so what we have to do, and when all this turmoil is going on, when all the storms are going on, we have to go back to the beginning and recognize and realize and define ourselves as light. And if we're light, there is no darkness.
None. None. Okay, so if that's the case, Michelle, if we are like, then why is it that so many people haven't come to that realization and they're operating in their dark, I call it their dark lower vibration? Why is it that there are more people that haven't embraced that? Why do you think that is?
Well, because we haven't been we've been trying to make people live right, but we haven't been giving them the tools to think right first. So our thinking has no light in it. So you're on that low frequency. It's not a bad frequency, but it's not your greatest expression of you. And so a lot of people have been just going to church. Now, I'm not a church basher. That's why I started.
No, we all started. But you don't stay in the first grade forever.
Right. What I am bashing is that we fail for the lack of knowledge. We fail for the lack of knowing. We fail for the lack of studying. God says, study to show yourself approved. What he meant was not just the Bible. You got to come outside of the Bible. You got to go into the scientific. You got to go into the psychological. You got to go into all those modes so that you get the fullness of who God is. And he said when he divided that, he wanted you to know that there was a difference. But you never will know there's a difference if you walk in the light. It all balances out. You become balanced. So a lot of us are unbalanced. And I was at that point with there's only one power. Let's put it like that. I know people think there's devil power and there's a God power, like there's a competition, like God is competing with the devil, whatever that is. The devil is a mental disorder. If you look up its original context of the word, it means mental disorder.
We ain't gonna do that, Michelle. We ain't gonna look it up. We just want somebody to tell us so we can walk around and spend our lives in fear and operate at a low vibration and just choose to do that. We ain't gonna study because we just want somebody feed me. We want to stay in that infantile state and not stand on our own and seek spirit to enlighten us. They ain't gonna do it, Michelle. I mean, we can do whatever we can, and I appreciate that. But otherwise, I really believe we will be seeing more of this. We will be seeing more of this.
You have to become conscious. A lot of us are walking around unconscious. You have to become conscious to your present now. We're walking around in our past, and we're carrying it into our present, or we're walking around trying to figure out our future, which is causing us anxiety. We're walking around in our past, which is causing us depression, because your depression is based on something that has happened in your past. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 2 minutes, it's something that happened. It is nothing that is happening to you right now. So I begin to offer people a tool of walking in now. The acronym, NOW, now opportunities wait. As we walk in the now, people are worrying about how they're going to pay their bills. Your rent is not due yet. You have to trust God to know that when that date comes, that's going to be all in your mind, because whatever you create in your mind as an option, it becomes a reality for your present now.
That's right.
And so you have to see that all is well. We are not walking in need because we have the light. He said, I shall supply all your need. We're not walking in want because he said, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. What we need to walk in is the now. And so the now is that light. When he separates that light, he says later on in 5, he says, I call the light day. So it's time for us to walk in the day. This is the 7th day. It's time for us to walk in the day. And he said, and I call the darkness night. Yes, we've had nighttime experiences. I'm not going to sit here and tell you just because I'm conscious, I don't have nighttime experiences. But it's not that you won't have nighttime experiences, is that you will not remain and stay there in the nighttime, because weeping endures just for a night, but joy comes in the morning, joy comes in the day. What is the day? The day that you realize that you are light. So your day could be at 12 midnight. Your day could be at 1 in the morning. Your day could be at 6 o'clock in the evening. But when you come to the mental status that you are light, and that at any time you can turn on the light and the darkness has to disappear.
Joy comes in the morning. And you know what? The thing is that this is how you know when it's morning time for you. It's when that joy would totally fill you up to where you're just joyful continually. And it is possible, ladies and gentlemen, it is possible to be joyful all the time. Who cares what people think? If they think you're just, what's wrong with her? She's weird. I don't care. I'm happy and I'm staying here. I'm in my happy place. I'm in my joyful place with me and Jesus, and we just having a great time. So you go on over there, and I'm gonna stay right here because you ain't gonna pull me out of this, because it took me a while to get here. I'm staying, And I think a lot of people, just from just watching and, because we met on Facebook, and just seeing people on Facebook, and I'm like, good Lord, they just like this. It's like the same, they're running the same script over and over. And I'm like, it's like they're comfortable, right?
It's conditioned. It's conditioned.
Yep, conditioning.
We've all been conditioned. Scientists say by the age of 35, you're 95% conditioned by your environment. That means you're only 5% in your creativity, when it should be the other way around.
Say that
so
again,
we're conditioned to that.
Say it again, doctor. Go ahead.
I said, by the age of 35, now I'm 57. Now, by the age of 35, you have been conditioned by your surroundings, your parents, your country, your city, things you watch on TV. So you're in a condition, you're in a remote control situation where you're unconscious to what's real or what's the light in your life. So you walk around doing like you're robotic. You become robotic. You become conditioned. Traditions, conditions, all of that is in the issues.
So you, by the age of 35, whatever it is that you have convinced yourself, persuaded yourself to believe, taken in, digested, consumed by what you watched, by what you've heard, you have become a part of a program. You are programmed.
Yeah, so you're just like a computer. Yeah, you're just like a computer. You've been downloaded with so much stuff, and you think that's the way. That's why everybody say, "I'll be glad when everything gets back to normal," because they've been conditioned that was normal, and it never was normal. We just thought that it was normal, and so
we were asleep. We were asleep.
So, right. So now people right now are wanting things to go back to condition. When they say, I want things back normal, there was never a normal. You might as well delete all of that from your mind, because nothing will ever be the same. We have been forced into this new heaven and this new earth. These are the last days, the last days of all that mess that we thought we were conditioned to. We are in 2020. 20 times 20 is 400. I said 1,000 times. We're coming out of slavery. We're not just coming out of slavery. We're coming out with great substance, and we're on our way.
Yes, ma'am. Now, girl, we deviate from the plan, but we're gonna pick it up. We're gonna pick it up. And we got a few more minutes. And I really believe that, people think, oh, I'm coming out with abundance. They think materially. But let me tell y'all something. When you come out of abundance spiritually, when you finally get that, I'm telling you, it's like you walk and you enter into a total new timeline, a total new world where all this wonderful stuff is waiting for you. And you wake up every day and you feel it's like Christmas. Every day it's like Christmas when you finally get this right. Get this right first.
So many people think, I even talked to a minister that thought miracles were only when you get healed. So that kind of stunned me. You're saying the only time there can be a miracle is if I'm sick and I get healed. What we don't understand is that we are light. So miracles happen immediately, constantly, ongoing. And so this is where we stop existing and start living, and where we move to the tree of life.
All right.
And so we're probably not going to be able to get into the tree of life tonight.
Just a little bit. Just a little taste. Come on, that was a great segue. Come on, just we're gonna talk about
the tree of life is a journey that everybody wants to take. So in Genesis, God begins to say, you can eat of every tree, except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now, he never said, don't eat from the tree of life. He told you what not to do. And so we're still eating from that tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yes.
So it is the separation. When you put an and in the middle, you're separated. God is not a God of separation. He wanted us to move into the tree of life. Now, the tree of life is going to take you to the chakras. It's going to take you to some power. It's going to take you to your imagination. It's going to take you to your creativity. The tree of life is so full, and that's why it says some of us are just, we're walking in a form of godliness. Well, when you walk in the tree of life, you walk in the power thereof. You begin to create on the spot. You begin to walk in your majesty. You begin to walk in your kingdom. So when we go into the tree of life, you need to be there.
All right. We one of our we're streaming on Facebook too. So Cal Downey is one of my followers, and he said something about the forbidden fruit. Do we have time to just kind of enlighten him on that? Because isn't that what they considered the forbidden fruit on the tree of life, or was that the tree of good and evil? So
no, that was the tree of good and evil. Mm-hmm. Because what God said to Adam and Eve, who told you were naked? Mm-hmm. To listen to outside forces is the forbidden fruit. It doesn't have anything to do with an apple, orange, or peach. But to listen to outside forces outside of what God is telling you, that he was saying is forbidden. That is the fruit that we shouldn't listen to. You know, when people come, as a lady or as a woman, men often say, psst, psst, psst. I don't know if they do that anymore, but I don't answer that call because it's just a hissing. Isn't that some forbidden fruit? Because you have to be very conscious of what you respond to and what you react to. That is the outside. That's forbidden. You know, if you want to get to a real woman, you've got to go to her inside. This is some extra stuff I'm giving it for the men that are listening. You got to tap into her insides, because it's not her hips, her lips, or her fingertips. But it is that inner being that is everlasting. See, all the lips and hips, they're going to go down. Gravity going to take them down. But if you are attracted, if you are attracted to that inner being is that creativity. That's that tree of life right there. Mm-hmm. See, we stuck on how a person looks on the outside. So a person can be awesome, beautiful, nice body, dressed well, looks good. But when you get them home and that forbidden fruit That's when that forbidden fruit comes out. So you must be conscious and move in a different realm. And so that we want to, I know we're running out of time, but that's why next week we
have 15 minutes. We have 15 minutes, so we can speak to he separated light and dark and everything, and kind of tie a knot in that, and pick up on the tree of life next week, where we'll have a full 45 minutes to really go deep into that. So yeah.
So what I want to bring out mostly in today's lesson is that the word let, if you'll see that all through Genesis, what we have not come to the realization of is that there is power in let. A lot of times we say I want and I need, but we have a will. We're in the will, and our will be done. So when God begins to say let, that means he creates an imagination, a picture of what he's about to produce. Now, later on in the Bible, it said, Jesus said, I found it not robbery to be equal with God. And so when we talk about the tree of life, we're going to talk about how you are equal with God. And you have a problem with that because we've been taught that we're just a sinner saved by grace. That's your flesh, that's your darkness. That is not that is not your light. You must come to the tree of life. You have to come there. You have to. And when we talk about the darkness and the light, what you can understand is that when you go to that, God created the sun and the moon later. So he couldn't have been talking about the sun and the moon, what we just read. He had to have been talking about the lightness of the spirit and the flesh, because it's a whole different ball game. We must come to the presence. We must come to the now. We must come to the consciousness. In this light means to be enlightened. It means to understand. Now, I created the word understand. You're not going to find that in your Bible. And the reason I say understand is because the kingdom of heaven is within. It is not upstairs. It's not the man upstairs. My Father lives in me. We are equal. We are alike. People have a hard time when you say, I'm equal with God. That's a lot of responsibility. But we have to do that. So when we go to the verse that says, now we're not going to go through all verse by verse, but after the day and the night, the evening and the morning were the first day, God began to create some other things. So what I want to challenge the people tonight is to know that you're a creator.
That's right.
And that with your mentality, you begin to write the vision and you begin to make it plain as to what you're about to create. And then this is your Christ-mindedness. Woo. And anything that was before it got in your mind, and that's your Christ-minded, it becomes good, bad, and ugly. That I am creates. It doesn't have a title on good, bad, and ugly. In your mind, whatever you're thinking, you're going to produce. You're going to attract. You're going to make manifested. You have got to take this and use it for your glory. Use it for your glory and go forth in this light. I mean, in this light, I don't know how to explain it. It's like getting up in the morning and just knowing that you have $1 million. Even you might not have it in your bank account, but you have it in this light. You have it in this space, in this place of creation. Woo.
It's that feeling of liberty, you know.
Yes.
It's the feeling of liberty, really, because when you finally get into this space where you're just free, you know, and it really does require. Now you talked about by the time you're 36, that's when you have been conditioned and been programmed, and you're operating from a program of what you have consumed from day one when your arrival on this earth plane till 36. So 35, right? Is it 35?
35.
35. So this is why it can be so challenging we'll put it this way. Okay. So like when people they say, "Oh, I gave my heart back to the Lord, and I was born again, and all this stuff. I was enlightened," and that's just a first step. So but then you have to be renewed by the transformation of your
By the
mind.
renewing of your mind. Yes,
That's the
yes,
mind,
yes.
will, and emotions. It's not just more your mind, it's your will. You gotta annihilate that, because that's where your ego resides. That's your emotions. That's all that residue that you carried over and been conditioned, and it's running in your soul. That requires work.
Yes,
Work.
and we always thought we have to just go to work every day. But there's another kind of work that you have to do. You have to consistently and continuously work to cultivate. You got 35 years where you've been conditioned. If you're over 35, you got some more years. And so what you have to do is you have to do a cleansing. We always talk about cleansing our physical bodies, but we have to cleanse our consciousness,
Yep.
our subconsciousness, because everything in your subconsciousness was downloaded those 35 years that I'm talking about. And
It's
sometimes
running.
things just come up and you'll be like, where that came from? Well, it was in your subconscious. It was in there a long time ago, but it's still in there. So you have got to do some cleansing. You got to take out, you got to delete, I love this, annihilate. You got to annihilate the things that keep coming up. That's why people say, why I keep attracting the same kind of person. I've done it.
Time. We got 5 minutes. I can tell you why. I'm guilty of that. I can tell you why. Because I was sending out that vibration. Although I was serving in the church and speaking in tongues and laying hands on people, I kept attracting married men. Just attracting them. And I'm like, God, what's wrong with me? Why do I keep attracting all these married men? It was because there was a script running in my soul, sending out a vibration. Now, I personally have never, but I kept attracting them.
Right.
So I'm like, what is wrong with me? Is something wrong? No, there was nothing wrong with me. It was what Spirit was trying to, in my opinion, was trying to get me to realize was that there was a flaw in my system.
Right. And so sometimes we just refuse to acknowledge the signals, the signs, the wonders, where God is telling you, this is what's going on. This is what you're sending out. I'm showing you in front of you what you keep calling those things that are not as if they already were. Those are the places that you have to be mindful of.
Girl, I just got this vision. You know what your subconscious is like? Your subconscious is like this operator, and it just be calling stuff. Just be calling and drawing. It's like this. You got this operator in your soul, in your subconscious, just calling things, drawing them to you, and you're like, "What is going on?" And you're not externally doing it, but your subconscious is a script. It's running, and you have to overwrite that script with affirmations, visualizations, transforming, and doing that inner work by healing yourself, realizing that things could not have been better that occurred in your life, that it was all a part of some great, not diabolical, great divine plan to get you to self-awareness so that you can finally operate with the mind of Christ and live out this in your life being free and indeed. I really believe that.
Right. And so in the tree of life, there's freedom, liberty, and justice for all.
Everybody.
God is not a respecter of person. It is for everybody. I don't know why some people think they're just the called ones. God called everybody. Just a few people are not answering. They're not answering the call. Many are called and few are chosen. Doesn't mean that God chose a few. That means that a few chose to choose him.
Say that again, Michelle. Say that again, girl.
Many are called, but few are chosen. It's not that God is choosing a few. It's that few are choosing to be answering the call. So if you don't answer the call, it's nobody's fault but yours. Stay in your lane. There is no competition. You are the greatest original that God ever created. Nobody can come close to you. People don't like this, but I tell my children, you don't need a role model. You need to be a role in your model. You cannot be like anybody else. And if you fail, you try to set yourself up to be like a role model and you fail. You think you have failed. You have not failed. It's just another way you can do it. And that's seeing the true self in you, the highest version of you, the tree of life that is living in you.
You have to be. And you know, a lot of people, they don't, I don't want to appear cynical. I really don't. But it's just, it's like people are serving a new dish. It's the same recipe. It's just made differently. It's got a few more little ingredients. Like okay, so yesterday, you know, my birthday, we went down to Sanibel Island and we went to this restaurant that was famous for their desserts. So it was an orange cake, right? And the orange cake had it was orange with orange frosting. I'm thinking, oh, just orange cake, you know. But in the layers, there was almonds and this Swiss French chocolate, you know, something totally different. That was a cake, right? But it was something that I've never had before. But it was one of the best cakes I've ever eaten. So the thing is that what Michelle and I are trying to are called to do, we really are, and really feel led to do, is enlighten you guys into it's the same, it's a cake, same recipe. It's just a little extras added to it to enlighten you and nourish you and to equip you so that you can finally break free from that program that you have been conditioning yourself for so long. A lot of, and it's going to take, it requires work. You're going to have to put in the work, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to have to put in the work. Stop watching something stupid on television and start feeding your soul and working on you so that you can finally be the best version of you.
The work is worth it.
Yes, it is.
It's a freedom that you have in your life that it doesn't matter who's in the office of president. It doesn't matter if the Senate sends out a stimulus or not. It doesn't matter because you know all your needs have been supplied. I want the people to know tonight, do not ask God to help you succeed and then you plan for failure.
Right.
Don't ask God to help you. And then you say, well, if he don't do it, you have just set yourself up for failure. And you just canceled out the prayer that you just prayed. And then you start in this circle and we begin to blame God. We blame the devil. We blame everybody but taking responsibility for our own self.
Well, that's because when you send out that prayer, you are viewing it that you're praying to an outside God. That's why you say, if he don't do it, that means you're not seeing the God in you. You're not tapping in and operating and activating the God in you. Because when you send out a prayer, you're sending out a vibration out into spirit.
It's an astral projection. It's an astral projection.
And he said, whatsoever I decree in heaven.
Yes, it's an astral projection where you come out of the body and you're present with the Lord. That's what praying is. It's not really asking for nothing. It's creating something in your astral projection where you come out of your body and you're present with the Lord. And when you're present with the God, there is nothing absent. Woo!
Nothing.
Yes.
I told you guys, I did not tell you it's going to go deep. So if you guys are kind of almost drowning, y'all know next week to bring your scuba gear, because we just tapped into a little bit of Genesis this week.
Yeah.
We had Anissa Zabriskie, our health and wellness expert, who made her introduction tonight. So thank you so much, Anissa and Richard, for stopping by. Now, guys, next week we are going to pick right up on Genesis. Michelle is going to really bring us the tree of life, and I'm just excited about it. I hope this has been I know every time I just listen to her, it's like she takes and unscrews the top of my head and allows all this light just to flood in, this light of wisdom and understanding. And it excites me, and it encourages me, and it gives me the courage to just really study to show myself approved. Now, some of this stuff you guys may not have understood, but that's okay. Because guess what? You've just been made aware to something, so you cannot even go back. You can't go back. They
Yeah.
open the doors of your church, you can go up in there, you can be like, let me get up out here. Because you don't stay in the first grade forever. So for those of you who are watching, that means that this is an answered prayer for you, because you wanted more of God. See, people say, oh, I just want more of God, but then but when he shows up, you have to be open enough to understand, why am I watching this? Why is this so interesting to me? Because this is an answered prayer.
And
So
God doesn't come in pieces. We get God in pieces. He's a whole God. So when we say we want more of God, we already got it. We're just not conscious of it.
Yep.
I appreciate you, Vanessa Klinger.
Yes, ma'am. So how can people get a hold of you? Now we've got your information here. So tell us, what are you working on? And how can
we just got our website up. It is More the Rock and todaysmichellology.org. We are going to be offering some courses. So some of these things that we're discussing for these few minutes online, I am offering some mini courses. That is for those who become members on my site. Those will become free to you. As many courses as I put up, you will be able to. I am a one-man show, a woman show right now with God. So if you feel led to send contributions, I am reaching out to single moms, because I'm a single mom with 2 kids. My Gmail is themotivatormichelle@gmail.com. So you can contact me there, or at 470-504-2587.
And her information is scrolling through the banner, and has been the entire time that she's been sharing this wonderful free word to us. So guys, if you feel inspired to submit and contribute to Michelle's Cash App, please do so. It is just an honor to have you here, my love, and I'm so glad that you decided to be my co-host for Spiritually Speaking.
Happy birthday!
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. All right, my love. So I will see you next week when we pick back up in Genesis, and we're gonna just hang out in the tree of life. I'm looking so forward to it. So thank you so much, my love. See you next week.
All right, have a good one.
Bye-bye. Guys, wasn't that wonderful? I'm telling you, it's just getting started. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. I want to thank you guys over on social media for your comments, for sharing, and for catching the replay here on my wall. If you didn't get a chance to watch it live here on the KP Media TV network, we have some great things planned, and it is such an honor to be able to come to you and share with you the Word of God, where we take a deeper dive, where He's doing a new thing. That's what He said to me in January when I crossed over into 2020. He said, I'm doing a new thing, and He's proven it. And we are in October. The year is almost over, and a lot of people have experienced challenging times, but I'm just here to encourage you that it's going to get better. It's getting better. Just allow yourself to go through this process called transformation that God wants to take us through, so that we can come up higher, right? We're in the days of revelation. Come up higher, okay? So thank you guys so much. Make sure you join us next week, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on the KP Media TV network. And Friday, join me on the Right Along with Vanessa morning show, 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, I'll be bringing you even more raw, real enlightenment from my car. So guys, I want to thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. And until next week, stay in love. Thank you for enjoying the show. If you have an awesome product or service that you would like Vanessa to promote, go to www.vanessaklinger.com/show sponsor, and we'll get back to you. We have monthly sponsorship programs, ad slots, all kinds of wonderful, great things to promote your product or service. Contact Vanessa today. Thank you for enjoying the show. If you have an awesome product or service that you would like Vanessa to promote, go to www.vanessaklinger.com/show sponsor, and we'll get back to you. We have monthly sponsorship programs, ad slots, all kinds of wonderful, great things to promote your product or service. Contact Vanessa today.